Hey everybody, it's your boy Toxie Boyo, and I've been thinking a lot about God of War recently. Uh, is it because it just got added to PlayStation Plus and I've been playing it again? Maybe, just maybe. But I will openly admit that I'm not somebody who loved the 2018 title. I mean, I've got a 30-minute video on the channel about why I didn't like it that much, but I've got an equally long video about why I loved Ragnarok. Um, I think it's one of the best games I've played in the last 5 years. Um, if it weren't for Elden Ring, I'd probably think it was the best game I've played in the last 5 years. But I have given a lot of thought to, especially the DLC that came out, Valhalla, because it brings closure to Kratos' character in a deep and meaningful way that I truly respect and appreciate. Spoilers for that: he joins Freya's new Council of Gods and is and has agreed to serve as her war advisor. Um, he is no longer the god of war, though. He is the god of hope. He has chosen to be the god of hope. Um, he's forgiven himself for his past actions and learned how to live with them as a part of who he is, and has chosen not to allow them to define him anymore. I love all of that. I think that's great. God of War Ragnarok has sold like 20 something million copies in the last couple years. And so, with a game or a product being that successful, obviously the company behind it, being Sony Interactive, sees dollar signs and wants to keep going. So I really don't think that God of War Ragnarok will be the last game. I am almost 100% certain that we're going to continue. I am cautious about something like that because the way that we left Kratos and the franchise feels perfect. But I also thought that at the end of God of War 3. For a different reason. I thought that the decision Kratos makes at the end of that game was perfect for his character. He realizes what he's done and how there's really no going back from it, how he's destroyed the world for the sake of pursuing vengeance, and he kills himself. But at the end of this game, it's the opposite. He's learned to forgive himself, how to move on. He's learned what it's like to be loved and to be respected and to be prayed to by people. Or at least that's what's in his future. Now, if you had asked me way back in the day, did I think that there needed to be another God of War game that takes place after 3, I would have confidently said no, because I thought there was nothing left to do. And while I didn't love God of War 2018, I did love Ragnarok, but I will still admit that those games, while I won't say they don't add to the lore in a meaningful way and that they don't add to Kratos' character, I still don't think that they are necessary, in that you don't have an incomplete story regarding Kratos without them. If you just play God of War 1, Ghost of Sparta, Chains of Olympus, 2, and 3, you still have a complete story regarding Kratos. And considering that there is most likely going to be another game coming in the future, I don't know if it's been confirmed by Santa Monica yet or by Sony. There's been a lot of speculation as to what happens next. Where do we go from where we left off in Ragnarok? What do we do now? And that typically means, whose gods are we going to go beat up? There were plans to visit Egypt in God of War 3, so that's still on the table. We could go to Japan. That could be interesting. We could go to India. That could be interesting. But the thing is, no matter where we go, there has to be a good reason. If you look at how many gods Kratos does battle with and or kills in the Greek saga versus the Norse saga, there's way more in God of War 3 alone than in either of the Norse games. Mostly because there aren't as many Norse gods as there are Greek gods. But Kratos fights Balder, Magni, Modi, Thor, Odin, and Balder. I meant to say Heimdall. um, Kratos kills Balder. Oh, Modi. I can't remember who's who. Let me find out real quick, actually, so that I don't embarrass myself. Which one is Magni? My internet is completely betraying me right now. So that's great. Which one is Magni? Please, please. Okay, yeah. So he kills Magni. He kills Balder. He kills Heimdall, and that's it. He doesn't kill Odin. He decided that, you know, Odin's life wasn't for him to take. He doesn't kill Thor because he never wanted to in the first place, and he spares Modi out of mercy. But the only reason he fights any of these gods is to protect his son, right? He was perfectly content not doing any more god slaying or fighting anything else like that for as long as he lived. But then these gods showed up and they brought the fight to him. He did what he had to do. However, you know, if I were to look at that as cynically as possible, Atreus didn't exist until the writers came up with him. And so, absent of giving Kratos another child and then a wife who dies off screen, what motivation is there to get Kratos to fight these gods again? It has to be motivated by something deeply personal to him. But now Atreus is gone. Atreus is off trying to find the rest of the living giants and restore Jotunheim. And I actually really like that. I think that's an interesting enough premise for another game. I think personally that the best thing to do is to retire Kratos and let us focus on Atreus in the next game. Age him up, make him an adult, put some muscle on him, and let's go restore the giants. But I don't think that that's what they're going to do. I think that we're probably going to stick with Kratos for a while. But the hard thing to do is to come up with a reason for him to fight more gods. You know, everyone's interested in where is he going, but I'm more interested in why. Because I think it would be a betrayal of his character to just have him show up in Japan and start, you know, hunting down Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu and just chop them up. He doesn't want that life. He doesn't want to inflict that kind of pain on anyone else ever again. And so, if you can't come up with a compelling enough reason for him to do this, which I can't say that they won't or that they can't. I don't work at Santa Monica. I don't know what they've got going on. But in absence of being able to come up with something like that, I think that a more interesting way to go about it is to have him meet other gods to learn from them. It would be interesting if he learned how to be a god of hope from other pantheons and from other religions. Or maybe they have to work together to stop something else. You know, I think that the most fascinating thing you can do with Kratos' character is to distance him even further from the hatred and the rage that he used to feel. Really show us how much he's grown. And how much he's learned. I would even like it if he didn't carry a weapon. At least not at first. Gameplay reasons, he's going to need to. But like, if at the beginning of the game, he doesn't have the axe, the blades. Well, the axe or the blades. It would be interesting if, like, he still wore the ring. That way, if something does pop off, he's ready for it. But he's not brandishing these weapons everywhere he goes. He's not trying to intimidate people or create fear in his travels. But he is still prepared for anything. Like, he is still a Spartan warrior, so he should still be prepared, but he doesn't seek out violence. He doesn't incite violence where he goes either. That could be a very satisfying direction to go with the character, I think. There's really no way to know what they're going to do because, I mean, Ragnarok came out almost 3 years ago and they still haven't said much of anything. The possibilities are kind of endless, to be honest. We could do another prequel. We could talk about what happened in between God of War 3 and 4. I don't know. That's up to Santa Monica and what they want to do. The God of War franchise is a very complicated one, where there's a lot of back and forth about whether Kratos was always deep, or he was never deep, or if he still isn't, or if the games were ever mature back in the day, or if they've only just recently become mature, or if they're too full of themselves, too high on themselves. All of that is going to depend on what you like and what you want out of a game that you're playing. I have been a fan of God of War for almost the entirety of its run. I didn't get to play God of War 1 and 2 right when they came out. I played the first 3 games, the home games, the ones that are on PS2 and 3. I played all of them at pretty much the same time, and even then it was a couple years later. Because those are M-rated games, and I was 5 years old when the first one came out, so I didn't really get to play that right away. But I've always had a deep love for the franchise. I don't necessarily know that I love Kratos as a character. I just really liked action games back then. I still do. And they are definitely still action games, but they're not what they were, you know? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Change and growth and adaptation can be very good for a franchise. It prevents stagnation. And that's always something to aspire to. If you can keep things interesting, keep things varied, keep things fresh, then that's what you should do. But now I want to turn things over to you guys. What do you think we should reasonably expect from the next God of War game, or what do you want to see? Which religion would you like to see depicted? What lands do you want to see Kratos travel to? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below and educate me. It's been a while since I've said that. And as always, if you want more videos, click somewhere on the screen. You can subscribe if you want to. Maybe check out the second channel, which I haven't done anything with in several years. But we've got a lot more to talk about down the line, so I'm looking forward to it. See you guys next time.